Yo.
All right, and we're back. We wrangled Trey into staying on for the live, and hopefully it goes pretty well. But I'd like to welcome everybody who's already tuned in. This live broadcast is, of course, brought to you by our good friends over at Mugshots in Hattiesburg,
Yeah.
the South's premier sports grill and bar, and it all started right here in Hattiesburg 20 years ago. And Mugshots are always having a good time. Happy hour specials daily, and with 18 specialty burgers, they've got you covered. Go see our good friends at Mugshots in Hattiesburg today. Mugshots delivering craveable food and personalized hospitality to friends and family in a place obsessed with sports. So, we just finished our little recording with Sut, and where we left it off was talking about this ticket situation or the lack
Kicking
of
it off
people
with the juice.
in the stands because it started just a Twitter firestorm. And the weird thing about it is that it really started last week because of me. And really, an offhanded comment that I made to our good friend James, who is a fake person, you know, uh, uh, and representing a burner Twitter account. And I just made the comment that there is at least 7 tickets or something like that in our spot of people who have seats in the grandstands. And I didn't say they never sat in them or anything like that, but Twitter went crazy and
Yep.
ran with it. And it
Twitter
turned
does what it
into
does.
it turned into everybody in the roost that buys tickets actually has tickets that were bought in
Yeah,
a chair back
we're just
seat,
gatekeeping. Yeah.
which is nowhere near the truth.
No.
But it went crazy. And so here's the deal: no matter where you come out on it, it's there's enough people mad about it that I guess that we needed to try to address it a little. So anyway, if I might have misspoken, at least maybe it got the ball rolling, right? On trying to figure out how to get butts in these seats. So you know, you can't. Okay, so and if you're just jumping into this and you have no idea what we're talking about, well, Southern Miss sells a whole lot of baseball tickets for 2 years straight. Before the season started, you could all the tickets were bought. You can't just walk up. I don't even know if the ticket booth is open. Is it? Do we even have people in there?
There may be one person in there, I think, that troubleshoots if you have a scanning problem, but I think that's about it.
Yeah, so it's an interesting situation. So you can't fault the university for selling, right? You can't go to the ticket office and be like, "Hey guys, you got to stop selling. I need you to stop selling so much stuff. Stop selling so many tickets." That can't be the thing that you do. So there's a bunch of theories out there about anything from, well, if you're going to buy the tickets, you have to sit in them. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Like make them pinky swear? Hey, before you give me this money, you need to have your word
Yeah.
that you're going to
If there's anything people love in a game day experience, it's more red tape. Yeah, let's please implement let's implement that, please.
So, I mean, I'll just open it up to you guys. I mean, what are your thoughts on, and maybe you weren't as enthralled. Holy smokes.
I'm awake.
We told
God-
y'all this was a hot topic. Holy smokes.
God is, the God has weighed in on the ticket situation.
God said people can sit where they want.
Holy cow, that scared me. Wow.
I'm not going to be the one to go tell Rick Maddox he has to sit in the roost or the grandstands.
Yeah, no, I'm not either.
Yeah, and look, and so to play the other side of that, which I got stuck on the side of just, I guess people thought like, well, this guy doesn't care, but everybody wants to see every single seat filled up, that's cool. And even some people that chimed in that weren't just trying to stir the pot, because there's a lot of people out there just strictly to stir the pot. Let me get in here. Let me, stir up this ant bed a little bit and just sit back and watch it.
Yeah, just throw in a match. Yep.
Pilo, before we get any further, Buzzer Ball has just chimed in and he says he cannot hear on the Twitter space.
Oh, okay.
Probably the lightning.
Yeah, may have broke it. Let me troubleshoot here.
But look,
Okay.
I'll wait till.
No, I mean you can go.
Yeah,
it's
you're
just
good. Go ahead.
yeah,
Well,
just you chime. I mean
it's
I mean
it's
like
a great,
it,
it's it's a problem that about 250 other schools in the country would love to have.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and establish that. And to debunk the theory that everybody in the Roost has a grandstand seat, I don't. I have standing room only. There's a lot of people out there in the Roost that don't have grandstand seats. There are some, obviously, but that's not a. I would say there's a lot more people with standing room only than grandstand chairback.
And there are some combos just in through the years, I mean, even as not that we've had bad crowds. I mean, I think we've been in the top 20 in the country for going on like 30 years now, but it wasn't that long ago that we were breaking records at like 2,700 season tickets sold, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even as little as, I think Seth said this on the last, or maybe it was before we started tonight, that, even like where were these people weren't, whining 4 years ago. Right. So it hasn't been an issue for that long. It is a great problem to have. Heck, our baseball and basketball teams, our football and basketball teams would love to have this problem. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think, like you said, or you alluded to, you can't fault the university for selling
generating
all
the
their
most revenue
tickets out before the season.
Right.
That, like, part of what they do, or their job to do, I guess, if you want to call it that, is to create revenue. And there's demand for baseball season tickets, and they're going ahead and locking up that amount, whatever that amount is of money that comes in for season tickets. There's some interesting ideas. I know we have a Braves season ticket package also, and obviously living in Mississippi, don't get to go to a lot of them, but they have implemented and this is kind of similar, because there's been such a demand for their season tickets. There's now a waiting list, probably like what we have, I would imagine. But they have implemented the last couple of years. I can't sell a certain percentage of my tickets on a third party site. If I exceed, I think it's like 62% of my tickets sold on SeatGeek or whatever, I'll lose my season ticket rights. So, and I don't know if that may not be a good example, because I don't know if our problem necessarily is that people are selling them on SeatGeek or StubHub. I know that's going on some, but I think the issue is more of having more people in the grandstand seats. So I don't know. I know, Jason, I think you mentioned a scanning policy or something.
Yeah, so that was brought up in the middle of the firestorm. That it was suggested by somebody that, because look, we talk about a lot of people that have been going to games forever and that have been attending Southern Miss sporting events, and I'm sure that the ticket office did go to some of those people. Maybe they're in the Roost now, maybe they're in a suite, who knows where they are, but they might have said, hey, look, would you like to buy some grandstand tickets? We're trying to sell this thing out. So they stepped up and they bought them, right? Yeah. And a lot of those tickets are given away. Some of them might not. Some of them, with this whole giving them back or selling them back to the university and getting points, I don't understand how to do it. I haven't really tried to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't understand what the points are for. I think it's complicated, and maybe that can be streamlined a little bit. That being said, at least the university did something. Last year, you were just SOL. If you didn't buy a season ticket, don't even try. You either got to have a buddy who's not going, who can give you his ticket, or you just can't go. So the university did come up with a creative strategy to do something. Now, whether that's just complicated for me or maybe if a lot of other people are like me and they don't understand it, maybe the university can do a little bit better job of explaining it. But at least they did something.
Right.
Before we get too deep into this, I do want to remind people if you have a question or you want to actually speak, join the Twitter space and request with us, and we can put you on. If you want to ask a question on the show, we can do that. Or if you have a question, I know we have gotten one question from somebody in the Twitter space, and those don't appear in our feed here. And so you and me go ahead and read that off.
Sure.
And I'm quoting. I'm going to go ahead and ask the first question. This is from Coke Sign at Coke Sign USM. Why cross Sibley tomorrow, and how many runs will he give up? So
Cross is going to throw.
Yeah, well, we've tried the cross starting thing twice so far. I mean, tomorrow's got to be Johnny Holstaff, right? I mean, one time through the lineup for a whole bunch of different people. Mm-hmm. But I tell you this, this past weekend did give us a chance to see some of those guys. Like we saw Landon Payne make an appearance, right? Look good. Mm-hmm. I mean, he can accidentally throw 98 miles an hour. So that's got to be good if he can start locating a little bit. We saw Flowers get up there. He's a power lefty that haven't had a lot of success this season, but I would look for a lot of that. I mean, don't you think, Seth? I mean, tomorrow is just – I don't think you're going to run – even if Cross is doing great, I don't think you're going to throw him 6.
Yeah, I don't see him going any more than 2 or 3 probably. And I may be wrong. I'm just guessing. But he's I feel like he's better in that limited outing role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, come in, get you out of a jam, maybe get you through the next inning, and then give it off, right?
Yeah, I would imagine it would be like an opener like you see in the big leagues now. Like you're starting a reliever, he's going to try and get you through a couple, maybe 3, or like you said, maybe one time through the order and let's pass it off. Because you do need him ready for this weekend too. And if he goes 7, that wouldn't be good for him. As far
Crazy Eagle has chimed in with a question or a take here. If you own standing room only tickets, it's difficult to get into the stands. The ushers you're checking, perhaps reverse.
Yeah, that's the red tape. That's the red tape Patrick's talking about.
That's not happening. Okay. Absolutely not.
Okay, so so the ushers. I mean, after like the 3rd or 4th inning, the ushers should just take a hike, right?
And Mason, we are going to get to you in just a second, so hang in there. Yeah, we do have a speaker.
On that subject, I'm kind of like read the room. Like if it's a regional type game or an Ole Miss or State, Alabama, whatever, and you've got a big crowd in the stands, kind of read the room. If it's a Sunday game at 11 a.m. against Coastal and there's a lot of seats, I don't see any reason.
I mean, so through the years, I've sat in chairbacks many a time, and I've never had a seat. So I mean, I haven't tried to do it a lot this year. If I was up there, I was using T-Rose tickets or something.
Yeah,
so I just walked in, and I wasn't ever asked. I don't know if I just walked like I owned the place, or if whoever made that comment, Crazy Eagle, has just maybe they ran into a rogue usher. I don't know. But if it is tough, because in the past you could just if the person showed up, if I was sitting there, I'm like, my bad, and I just moved over.
Right.
It wasn't that big of a deal.
All right, you want to get to Mason?
Yep. Bring it.
Mason, go ahead.
I don't know if I'm doing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you a little bit.
I can only hear you. I can't hear anybody else talk. So I don't know if that's a me issue or like a Twitter issue.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, Mason, go ahead. I can hear you a little bit, and we can I'll.
Anyway, I'll just say my piece
and then go.
Figure that out afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, we're learning.
I might repeat whatever was just said because I have no idea what was just said. But I do want to respond to the Coke sign at Pete Taylor Park. Love that guy's account, by the way. He's great. Coke's out, but it's somebody's got to start. I don't imagine Cross is going to do much more than open the game. And Cross has had a few rough outings lately, but it's hard to ignore the body of work the kid's put in over the last 2 years. He's been a workhorse for us for 2 years in a row now. If anybody's going to eat up some innings that we can expect to, I think it's Cross. I think he's great. And, yeah, I think he's a good choice to open a game, especially on a short week where he didn't throw many pitches over the week.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, what other better option is there to run out there to start the game? I don't know if there is one.
Well, he's a guy that's not going to be afraid of the situation. He's not going to be intimidated. He's going to go out. He's going to do what Cross does. He's going to go out. He's going to throw strikes. Sometimes he's great. There's been a few games this year. I'm thinking back to the Georgia State series.
Well, everybody got it. Oh no, Cross was the one that
Cross single-handedly kind of won us that one game, right?
Yeah.
So
everybody else got hit.
Yeah, I don't know how they weren't stealing his signs, but no, I love.
Okay,
Cross.
so I heard a theory.
Okay, on the sign stealing.
Yeah, it only if you go back and look at that series, all of our right-handed pitchers got shelled, and there was a camera. I was hearing this from somebody's dad on the team, but the theory was that they were able to see something from that camera on our right-handed arms.
On the pitch?
I don't know. It may be conspiracy level, but I will go to my grave convinced that they were doing something. I just don't think
so. So let me ask you this, Coach. So if you're in that situation, do you not just go back to the traditional, or do you even say if your eyes? I don't know how it pops up on the little wristband, but if it pops up and it's
I didn't know. I think the way they were explaining it to me was they weren't getting it from a wristband or something, but the way I understood it, unless I misunderstood it, was that their theory was wherever that camera view or angle was at. I don't know if you could see into the right-hander's glove or what they I don't know. That was just I know there's been a lot of talk about that weekend, and I just pouring gas on the conspiracy. But I'm right there with you. There's no way that we were that bad.
Go ahead, Mason.
Okay, I just want to say that whatever the issue was, it cleared up. I can all of a sudden hear everybody, so that's fantastic.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think I figured out the issue. I had one thing switch, so I'm glad we got it worked out. Thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah, so I've got a question for everybody.
Okay.
Do you guys think we set a new attendance record tomorrow?
I hope not. I mean, I do, but I don't. Because I feel like if we do, that means there's too many of the other people in there.
Well, my opinion is this year, especially, I've noticed it. Our midweeks have been severely low attendance as far as people out there.
Except for the Alabama one. For the Alabama one.
Yeah. Well,
that was a good one.
I was on my deathbed that game, so I did not, because I had food poisoning. So I did not.
That was kind of regional worthy type attendance.
Yeah,
absolutely it was. The Alabama game was electric, and I hope that tomorrow is like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good crowd tomorrow. It always is when they're playing here.
It's going to have a little bit to do with the weather. I don't know what the weather's going to do. I mean,
it'll be okay.
Lightning right now. It's going to be
all
gone.
This will be out of here, so we'll be good. Yep.
That might even help out. People finally getting to get out and do something, right? Unless you're like me and there's going to be several 7- and 8-year-old makeup games all night long. So,
Lounge, if you have a question for Trey, either put it in here or join the live or join the space, and we can get you on.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Mason. I guess Mason's gone. Okay, there he is. Great. So, so I don't know where I come out on this. It's maybe mixing in a scanning situation. I would like to know where are these people coming from? Patrick, you mentioned something to me that you wished that maybe just the chairbacks were a ticketed actual seat, but that the bleacher seating was not a numbered ticket, right? That would just be general admission,
right? And it would get you back to more of a priority situation. Like if you want to get there 3 hours earlier, you want to camp out. I mean, I did it for the Cal game when I was a student. If you want to get there 6 hours early and you're the first one in the gate. I love a general admission. I mean, I know we have that down the right field, but to actually have a seat for somebody that's there early.
Well, it used to be like that, didn't it? I mean,
It
you just
was.
like the bleachers on the ends of before they extended it. Those bleacher areas were GA.
Yeah, it wasn't until this year when they made standing room only that they moved that to actual ticketed seats, and then got everything else to be SRO.
Well, at this point, can you put the toothpaste back in the tube in that situation? If people they're like, "Hey, I want to renew my seats next year," you can't say, "Well, I mean, can
it's
you?"
tough.
I don't know if you can do that at this point.
All right, we
Or
do
just
have
make it
another
general.
person
You had
requesting-
anybody. Yeah, if anybody was sitting in a bleacher, I guess you could just make that general admission, and when you get there, you get there. But I do wonder where those people are going to come from, because I don't see a lot of people in the roost complaining. I don't see a lot of people in the lounge complaining. So you aren't going to take people from there. So it's going to be other people that want to get in that cannot get in.
Right.
I don't know. Good problem to have.
Yeah.
Who's on the line?
It's our good friend James.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, James, you should be good to go.
I believe you cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't do it. You can't do it. Because people are buying their season tickets. They're expecting to sit in their seat. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Okay. Well, what's your solution, James?
Yeah, boys, I don't consider myself much of a philosopher. There's lots of people on here and on the social medias that might consider themselves philosophers, and I really think that what we got going is a pretty good problem to have. I just think that my main solution is just, if you're in the roost, you probably don't need bleacher seats, but I can see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that's where I come out too, James. Is normally in the middle, even though I think I was portrayed to come out on one side over the past few days. But yeah, I mean, who didn't want to see every single seat filled out? But at the same time, I'm in sales. I can't imagine a scenario where my company would say, "Can you just hold off selling stuff, for a little bit?" Right?
Okay.
I don't. I can't see that happening. Pilo, what was that? Was that a police scanner?
No, we have. I think James is trying to slip in some stuff, so he's muted. So it was
okay.
nice talking to you, James.
All right. Good.
Nice
Thanks for
try.
showing up, James. Get us caught up on some Twitter comments,
Yeah,
and
we have a
then
lot
we can get
coming
into
in.
the rest of this. Yep.
Lounge had a question. I guess this was the question for Sutton.
Sut, do you know how fast Ozzy throws it across the infield?
It's slower than 90 miles an hour.
And I'll say it's
Fair enough.
faster than 80 miles an hour.
There we go.
I would agree with that.
So it's in between 80 and 90. right.
Attack Eagles is Ox still in pitch count. Doesn't seem like he has gone very long, even when he's dealing. I really like that kid.
Yeah, I really like him too. And every time I see him out there, he just doesn't look like a freshman at all. I don't know what his deal is. Sutton, do you have any insight there? I don't go to practice. I don't.
I don't know. I don't know. And they
He's
just
gonna
need
be-
a role they have him in. Because I know he hadn't started a game, and
Right.
I feel like every time he's thrown, it's been in relief for an inning, maybe two. So yeah, I don't know. I don't
Good
know.
player. I'd like to see more of him. For sure.
Yeah.
Anything else, Pilo?
Just some comments from. We do have a good friend Hinkle. I'm just gonna throw it up for 2 seconds, and then I'm putting it back down. I knew Sutton would enjoy that.
Oh my gosh. We need to hear
Okay.
about the quarterback room.
Yeah.
Football season lives are going to be interesting.
Oh man, they're gonna be great.
What would be great is if Hinkle ended up being James. I still don't know who James is.
You know, the first person that came to my head whenever I heard that voice was him. But I don't think it's it.
No, I got a little insight that James kind of got ratted on a little bit, so I have some
Really?
of who it is. But
I was gonna ask him if he could put the toothpaste back in the tube. What brand would it be?
it's probably AIM, if I had to guess. Yeah,
Crest
this is a
might
good
want some of
question.
that. We have more questions?
Yeah, what's going on with Billy Butler?
Okay.
I don't think he's healthy.
He's been dinged up. Was it a groin or something like it was something? It was one of those lingering deals, right?
Mhm.
Hammy, groin, quad. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I know more than I should know, but just
I know that
say he's not healthy.
I was talking to Tiro about it, and I mentioned him, and he said, "Oh my God, I forgot he existed."
Mhm.
But seriously, he was kind of, he's my son's favorite player. He went to the camp, like he hit all his home runs in that 1 week, and he made that statement about Mississippi State, and I was like, maybe this is the guy. Maybe this is the guy that's going to step up, and he's going to be our dude. Because at that point, we didn't know if we had one, right?
Yeah,
And then he got dinged up, and he's been gone. So, I mean, yeah, you have forgot about him, but I mean, he has the ability, to hit the ball like 500 feet. So he's another dude that in a pinch hit situation, probably at this point. I mean, I think the lineup has kind of cemented itself.
Yeah.
But he's a good player, and if he can come back and contribute in any way down the stretch, I mean, that's just a bonus
right.
for sure. Anything else?
I think we're caught up for right now. We want to move
Okay.
forward.
Well, good. Well, I tell you what, let's get to some baseball. We're about 30 minutes in. We don't need to stay any more than probably about another half hour. But not that we haven't been talking about baseball the entire time, a little
Right.
bit. But the baseball team sitting at 34-17, 18-9. RPI, I think, is it 33 right now? Unless it's changed.
32, 33.
Strength of schedule sitting at 47. We have six that we're 6-6 in quad 1 wins, 11-7 quad 2, 5-1 quad 3, 12-3 in quad 4. That's what good teams do. We're ranked this week in one of the polls. At least I didn't check them all, but I know we're ranked 25th in Baseball America this week. There we go. So we finally creaked in. I don't know if we are quite. I don't know. Are we worthy of being ranked 25th in the country? I hadn't looked at everybody. I know East Carolina's been ranked for a long time. They just got swept by Tulane, so they probably didn't deserve to be there. So I'm going to go. Yeah, I think we do deserve to be maybe right on the cusp or on that 24 to 25 range right there. So that's a good thing. The projections we talked about last week. Sut, you might have some more projections. I've seen us projected to be in the regional in Greenville, North Carolina. I've seen one in Tallahassee. There's been several others out there. Is there any regional destination that you think we might go to, and one that you hope we do go to?
I would love to go to Mississippi State, to be honest.
Why?
It's close, and nothing would thrill me more than beating them up there.
I like it.
Agreed.
I saw a projection of us going to Athens with Wake Forest and Austin Peay, and
Just
I
don't do
did
that.
not like that.
No,
Yeah.
because
Other
Austin Peay can swing it.
Yeah, other than the fact that Athens would be a great weekend,
It's true.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't. Let's go pee. No thanks.
Wake Forest Arms and Austin Peay as a 4 seed would be tough.
Yeah, that's no good for sure.
Like, I can't. Like the last 2 weeks, we've been tied up with playoffs, and I hadn't checked it quite as much. But I don't even. Is Duke still a host? Because I'd be fine with going to Duke.
I do not know. I've never been there either. So I would like to go. I would like to go to the regional just to stand outside of Cameron Indoor and take my picture.
I went to a game there once.
No way!
Yeah. was pretty
Wow. Did you get with the crazies?
No, but we paid $170 to watch them play Eastern Michigan. Speaking of ticket
People complaining
situation.
about tickets. Yeah.
I think I paid $170 for my season ticket at Southern Miss.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we played Arkansas State this past weekend. Let's talk about these games real quick. We'll run through them. Game 1 at Arkansas State won that game 5-2. Billy Oldham has really settled into that Friday night role. I thought it was imperative to win this series, before we got started. And you want your Friday night guy to do what they can do, and he really did. The last thing you want to do with a team at the bottom of the league is to give them hope. Baseball is just kind of funny like that. If you leave them in it for a while, they think they can do it, and Billy really never did. Even though the game was tighter, I mean, only a 5-2 victory, but you're going to win a lot of games only surrendering 5 hits and just 2 runs. So Billy goes 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, and 108 pitches. Colby Allen came in and he did the rest. He went 2 innings, 1 hit, 2 Ks, no runs. He's another guy that's stepping up. I don't know if we saw that, at the beginning of the season, working out that way. Hitting wise, Trey talked about it earlier, how Creel went from wanting to get fired to I don't know, is he gonna get hired away from us, right? I mean,
let's talk about something real quick that was another hot topic on Twitter that I have laughed at. If you ask Travis Creel right now, was that a good send on Friday night? I guarantee you he would tell you no.
Yeah, that was a bad send.
That was bad.
You're talking about when basically the left fielder was playing like deep third base.
Oh, it was so funny.
Yeah,
people have been dying for the last month and a half to have something to complain about Creel on Twitter, and boy, they got it Friday.
Yeah,
they've had the gasoline in the matches.
Now, but let's fire him for sending that guy.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
we got
amazing.
lots and lots and lots of hits this weekend. It was a fight at the bat rack all weekend long. 12 hits on Friday. DMAC goes 2 for 5. Pratt 2 for 4. Gillespie 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. Pato 2 for 4 with a homer. Broadus 2 for 3 with a triple. Wilkes gets that last inning single to extend the streak at that point. You had to have game 1, right? When you're going into this series, you hate to say you got to sweep, but you definitely had to go 2 out of 3. I think last weekend and this weekend probably. To ask a team like Southern Miss, who had a phobia of sweeping, to sweep the last 3 series in a row is kind of ridiculous. But here we are. We have a chance to do it, right? But you couldn't do that before you got through that first game. We were down 1-0 through 5 innings, then got it going. I got 2 in the 6 off a Gillespie double and a Pato single. Arkansas State tied it up with an inside the park homer. That was weird.
That was crazy.
It was
the
ball,
like the slowest collision out in the outfield.
Yeah, Gillespie at the last minute just tried to creep out of the way, but there's nowhere to go because the wall was there, and then the ball ricocheted. As soon as it ricocheted, I was like, well, this is bad. And so that reminded me of one of my 7 and 8-year-old games. Watching that
and
happen.
apparently they had that dude could run like McIntyre too, because he was flying around those bases.
But then Southern Miss comes back, right? This fight that we're talking about, was all of a sudden this team has. There's been so many games this year where are we flat or even trying? But here lately, it's just if we get down, there's just this fight that I wasn't sure was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Gillespie and Pato were back at it in the 8th. Gillespie doubled, scoring Pratt. Tuna hit a bomb, good for 2 runs, then handed the ball to Colby Allen, and it was kind of over. So game 1, got that down. How are you guys feeling after game 1?
Pretty good. After that starter came out, I was we had went out to dinner and I hadn't really kept up with it, and I just remember doing something, and my wife turned to me and held the phone up, and we were losing 1-0, and I was like, well, I was in a good mood. And so and then I got home and literally turned the TV on. He comes out, and then we start pounding the ball. So yeah, it was good to take game 1 for sure.
Then game 2. So another fight at the bet rack. Won this one 19-3 in 7 innings. I mentioned earlier that my Mugshots team lost to arguably the worst team in the league. I mean, the first time we played them, it was 0-0 through 3 innings, but we ended up winning like 8-1, and they only won like one other game this entire season. So anyway, we lost that game. I was convinced after that, leaving Tatum Park, that Southern Miss was going to lose. I was going to like have a flat on the way home. My dog was going to get ran over.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yes, I thought the whole thing, and then Southern Miss comes through, right? 19-3 in 7 innings. Goodness gracious. 12-0 through 2 innings, and you have Mazza on the mound, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, do you pull him? A sweep would be nice. Do you pull him right now? It's 12-0. Mm-hmm. I could get out there and throw and not give up 12, I think. Hitting, speaking of Creel again, 19 runs on 19 hits in just 7 innings, 2 doubles, 4 homers. DMAC 3 for 5 with a double. Pratt 3 for 5. Who's the hottest hitter on our team right now? Is it Ozzie Pratt or is it Slade or is it DMAC?
He was like 10 for 15 this weekend.
I mean,
yeah, if he's not, have they done Sunbelt awards yet for the week? If he's not hitter of the week, I would love to know the guy that was.
No doubt. Wilkes 4 for 5 with 2 home runs. Yeah. 4 runs. That tells you how good we're hitting, that I have to get halfway down the line to get to a guy that went 4 for 5 with 2 bombs. Right? 4 runs, 4 RBIs. Gillespie 2 for 4, 3 runs scored. Pato 2 for 3 with a homer, 4 runs scored, 3 RBIs. Russo 3 for 4, 5 RBIs and a granny. He might be the guy that I'm so proud of doing good. We've been rooting for him for so long because we met his family and.
Well, like I'll say this about him because we know his dad and his mom and him obviously, but like you said, he's a kid that's easy to root for because, like he in this day and age of collegiate athletics, it would have been really easy for him to have already gone somewhere else. Like he loves it here. He loves Southern Miss and. You don't see it nearly as much nowadays with the transfer portal the way it is, but he's a guy that's been here for, a couple years. And even early this year, it was still kind of up in the air who was going to be the guy at first base. And he was really not in the lineup a whole lot there midway through the season. And then, like you said, it's good to see, a situation like that where a guy who, he's going to stick it out and play and try and fight his way into the lineup, and he's done that. So that's good to see.
Did have a question come in from Noah saying you don't want a rematch with Chase Burns?
All right, so last year when they beat us, when Dustin came out to the Roost after the game, he was obviously upset, but the first thing he said to me was, how the hell do I hit right-handed Aroldis Chapman? No, I would rather avoid Chase Burns if we can do it.
For real.
There's another question that came in from Mustard Buzzard Bleacher Creature to Trey. It says, Trey, blink twice, 4 times if the Sawyer-Tony situation is any of our business or not.
I don't know who that is.
Love it. What is Attack Eagles came in with? What's your ideal regional? I'd love to not go to an SEC regional for once, but I'm sure Starkville is where we will go.
I'd be fine with Starkville.
Yeah, I would too, to be honest.
I feel like they're beatable. I'd love to go there rather than like an Arkansas.
No doubt.
Well, I think I saw another Knoxville prediction too. And speaking of Knoxville, I don't know if we pissed off them again today because I don't know if you guys heard, but the Red Lobster closed today.
Oh, no.
So no longer do we not have an Applebee's. We do not have a Red Lobster in Hattiesburg.
No Applebee's or Red Lobster.
They definitely don't want to come here for a
God, there's going to be Tennessee fans just hyperventilating.
They literally put a sign on the door, and the employees showed up today, and it said, sorry, we're closed.
No more cheesy biscuits.
Sad
Those
day.
are good. Those are excellent.
Those biscuits are worth the price of admission, and I haven't had
Apparently,
one in
they
probably
were-
20 years. but-
They've lost $22 million like the last 3 years in a row.
You can buy those biscuits in the freezer section at Walmart, I think.
You can buy the mix too.
Yeah.
Sausage balls with that mix, fire.
Okay, this is a legitimate question from Wes
Here we go.
Nunnery.
Speaking of food,
And food for thought. Is there any scenario over the last 4 games and including the conference tournament that we can win ourselves back into the hosting conversation? Me and Patrick talked about this last week. I was running through how good we're doing and if we sweep here and what our RPI is. I'm like, I keep looking at all these projections. I was like, what, is it just completely out of the question? Sut, you might have more insight into this than we do.
I don't think it would be completely out of the question. I think you would just about have to run the table from here on out.
So run the table, including the conference tournament?
Yeah, or win the conference tournament. Maybe not run the table. You could lose a game and still win it, obviously. But I don't know. I mean, 3 of the next 4 and win the conference tournament and see where we're at. I just don't know if our RPI is going to get up enough to justify
with the
giving us a host.
Well, kind of like last year, we mentioned the record. I think at this point last year, our record was exactly the same as it is right now, or within a game or so. And we didn't host last year. We ended up getting that super, which was neat. But man, I kind of wish Auburn could host again. That was fun.
Well, and you're talking about seeding and how important, even if you don't host, being a 2 seed is what you want rather than being a 3 seed. Because if you do win that regional and the regional host doesn't win their regional, you got a shot to host the super again.
Yep.
As opposed to being a 3 seed.
Very good point. Very
so
good.
It is, it's not like, oh, well, we can't host, let's just get in as a 3. There is some benefit to being the 2.
Attack Eagle said, I'll be dang. Slade is slating 24 straight hit streak. Base hit machine with a few bombs scattered. That's huge. And how about Ozzie and Gillespie? Top of the lineup is on fire. It really is. Top of the lineup is feared at this point. We talked about it earlier. And Slade, he mentioned something. It was not that long ago that here comes a high fastball. And he's going to swing and miss it.
Yeah.
And now, boy, he's just turned into a hitter. Looks like you got a little Trey Sutton in him up there, going the other way, spraying it around. He probably has a little bit more pop than Sut, but I mean, does that make any sense though? I mean, he's become. I think before he was just a power threat, and now he's just a really good hitter.
Yeah, he. I mean, he's kind of hitting the ball all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the hit the other night we were talking about earlier on the show that he got in the ninth because he got another chance there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But he's, I feel like when hitters are hitting, when they're in the zone, if you want to call it that or whatever, they just kind of take what they're given. You can't hit a moonshot to right center on a breaking ball away.
Sure.
You just gotta take what you're given, and kind of.
Yeah, this is a great question. Matt Rockwell said, if we can only play one catcher, and this speaks to a couple of comments that we got on Twitter and on the feed here, but if we can only play one catcher every inning the last 4 games, who should it be?
Interesting, because there's a close tie with Coach Sutton in Lawson Odom here. And before you answer this question, Coach, I like all of our catchers in like their own way. I think Keys has the strongest arm, and I like him throwing people out more than anybody else. Odom has this like spark behind the plate, and it seems like he probably gets more, balls called strikes. He'll jump up out of there and start running towards the dugout. I think he convinces the umpire that it's a strike somehow. I think that Stockman, he looks like a major leaguer. He's huge, and he can hit bombs. I I don't know. I guess I'll let you go ahead and answer the question since it was probably directed more towards you. But
yeah, I don't know if I think that's a good question because I don't think there's an answer. I don't know. Stockman has power, but he hasn't. At least the last 3 to 4 weeks, I don't feel like he's, average wise, his average is down there. I think Lawson's average is the highest of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Keys is good. I don't know. I don't know if there is an answer. I have an answer.
I think the whole year, kind of like with the first base situation, you're just kind of waiting on somebody to take it over. And there's been times where Odom did it, and there's been times when Stockman's done it. Keys, I think, is a really good hitter. He just hadn't done it yet. But
yeah, I think the reason you keep seeing all 3 of them is they all bring something to the table.
Right.
And, they all do things that help us win. And so, for whatever reason, I haven't been able to really pick up any rhyme or reason as to who starts when. It's just kind of sometimes another guy's in there, and so there's something that our coaching staff has that or reasons why they're starting certain guys in certain spots, and they're all contributing. So I think that's a good thing.
One more comment, then we'll get back to the Game 3 at Arkansas State. Pilo, what's the question?
Yeah, Brett says if we sweep Ole Miss, Texas State, and then play CCU, Troy, and then Coastal again, then Lafayette, and win them all, our RPI would be high enough to be strongly considered. I would agree with that. But it says we're about 130 points behind from spot 16.
Yeah, and look, you don't necessarily have to be in the top 16 to get a host, do you? If you're in that top 20.
Well, Southern Miss has hosted as a 2 before.
Right.
Remember that? Baylor came here as the 1.
Yeah. And so if you can get in the top 20, I think you're in the conversation.
Well, that's when you stand, and that's when the selection committee starts leaning on things like ticket sales, right? To bring it full circle here. And
yeah.
Obviously, Hattiesburg's going to at least buy them all. We know that's going to happen. So,
and I think interestingly enough, I'm going to read off a couple so between us and spot 20 is Tech, Northeastern, Nebraska, Florida, Vandy, Xavier, Arizona, San Diego, Ole Miss, UC Irvine, Duke, and Dallas Baptist.
Okay, so there's a lot of teams in there that are not going to host. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of teams in that list you just read off that are not going to host.
Yeah, Ole Miss is 27 and 24. They're not hosting.
Northeastern's not going to host. Ole Miss isn't going to host. There are some other ones you named.
Florida's 26 and 25.
Florida's not going to host. They may not even make the tournament.
Yep.
If they don't win more games. So there's a number of teams that aren't. So really, if you're looking at the host conversation, our 33 is now 29. If you're talking about hosting and getting in that conversation.
That's a good point.
And look, we've got to win the games for it to even be a conversation. If we go 500 the next 2 weeks, we'll be a 2 or 3 seed somewhere, and it won't matter. But it could get really interesting if we just keep rolling. I mean, it could get interesting.
No doubt. All right, let's jump back into Game 3 real quick. Won this game 14-6. Slade extended that hitting streak. Had to come back from a slight deficit for the first time in a while, and did that responding to Arkansas State taking a 6-5 lead in the 4th with a 5 spot in the top of the 5th. Pitching wise, we hadn't figured out this Sunday thing yet. Friday and Saturday seem to be kind of locked down. Sunday, who knows? It was a committee game, 4 pitchers used. None of them threw more than 3 innings, and that was the last guy, Best, that came in and threw 3 innings. Boswell started. The Boz is the latest Sunday guy. He was a superstar at Meridian. It was just unreal new numbers in JUCO, and hopefully he can start doing a lot more of that at this level as well. He goes 2 1/3, 4 hits, 4 runs. Sibley comes in. Sibley's actually credited with the win. 2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs. Inning and 2/3. And then Best gets the save, his first of the season, going 3 innings, 1 hit, 0 runs, 0 walks, 3 Ks. That might be your Sunday guy. Pilo and I have been talking about it for a little while. We all loved him a couple years ago, and then he sat out, and now he's back. And as the season's gone on, I have more confidence in him. It looks like he has more confidence throwing the ball. He's throwing it fast, and he might be a guy that can.
Well,
that can
and as with any injury, the further removed you get from that, the better you feel and the better you get.
yeah.
And I think you're seeing that with Chandler. And you mentioned the Sunday pitching situation and kind of back to injuries. We've had a lot of those in the pitching staff this year.
Lots.
Things could look a lot differently were it not for some injuries.
Sure.
But that being said, we've had some guys kind of start stepping up, and I think Chandler's one of those. If you're gonna make a run in the postseason, you're gonna have to have guys step up who you maybe either weren't expecting to or had been expecting to, but had not thus far. And I think Chandler's one of those guys. And the reason really not because Chandler hadn't been able to do it, but he's just, I think, getting more and more healthy. And I think we're seeing the results of that.
And Armstead was that guy last year. And the year before that was even like a guy like Justin Storm, right? That just they're always seem this time of year. It's not your Tanner Halls.
Last year, Storm wasn't very good at the beginning of the year, and
right.
then as the season went, it was just like when he went in there,
Cold front.
Over. Like it didn't matter if he came in the 3rd or the 9th or like it was just over. And that's what you got to have. But yeah, you mentioned another name, Armstead, and McCarty English is another injury. Like this pitching staff would probably look a lot different, if those two guys hadn't got hurt too. But with the injury is opportunity for other guys to fill those holes and step up, and lately we've been seeing that.
Hitting wise in that final game, again, just stroked 4 doubles, a triple, a homer for the offense on the day. Pratt went off 5 for 6, 3 runs, 3 RBIs, triple and a double. DMAC 2 for 6, Wilkes 2 for 5, Monastery 2 for 6, Russo 2 for 4 with a double. And look, I know Arkansas State isn't very good, but this is what good teams do, right? When you play somebody worse than you, you should dominate, and I thought that's kind of what we did. 2 sweeps in a row in Sun Belt Conference play is probably not anything that I saw coming a month ago. So this is all good. The schedule has turned out favorable, I think. But what are you guys' thoughts on that series, I guess? And just, did you see us sweeping 2 times in a row?
I mean, kind of like you said a month ago, it kind of hard to expect that, I think. Like we talked on the show earlier, we've always – our program, because of our success, we've gotten to the point as fans where we're like, when does when is that winning streak coming? And I think we were all kind of wondering if it was going to come, and it has. It's been late, but it doesn't really matter when it happens as long as it does. Honestly, you'd rather it come late than early. You'd rather be playing your best ball this time of year anyway.
Yep.
No doubt. Just ask, the team we're going to be playing tomorrow night. A couple of years ago when they really had no business squeaking in the tournament at all. Got red hot. And, did their thing in Miami, came here, did us, and went to the Natty, right?
Well, and the year we went to Omaha, we snuck in.
Sure.
It was a 3 seed, and then we got hot. So you just never know. You just got to get in.
Yes, that's the most important thing. And Attack Eagle did chime in a minute ago saying, good chance we don't even play Troy, ULL, or Coastal until the championship because I think all 3 could be on the opposite side of the bracket. Very good point. Baseball, democracy, rock, and all those other things. Says, is Landon Payne back? He looked pretty good this weekend, but only threw 13 pitches. You know, Landon Payne is a guy that we all boy, he looks the part. I mean, he throws 1,000 miles an hour. He's got the big beard. You know, I saw him pitch before the season in the inter squads and just lighting up the radar gun. You know, and then when he started off, just making that jump from junior college to Division I sometimes is just it's tougher on some players more than it is others. Trey, I don't know where your thoughts are on Landon, but I mean, his stuff is absolutely electric. I mean, kind of like JB Middleton, right? Where he throws so hard. Like, how does he not always like throw a no-hitter, you know? But he had some trouble, and then he had some discomfort, and then he sat out for a while. He's done some rehab. He's another guy that if he does find it just a little bit, boy, he's going to be tough to deal with, you know, in that the later games of a tournament, right? Where your one has already thrown, your two has already thrown, you're down the list, your bullpen's depleted a little bit. If you still got guys like Payne who are sitting there able to run it up to like 98 miles an hour, that's got to be a good thing, I would think, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you get a good Payne and Middleton in the postseason, that completely changes at least the back end of the bullpen, if nothing else. You know, because that's what, if you think back to 2022, one of the reasons that team was so good was everybody we ran out of that bullpen was nails.
Yeah.
It was just one after the other.
Hopper.
They were just really good.
Dalton Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rogers, Hawk,
Harper,
Hopper.
Ramsey. I mean, they
Ramsey
were all,
with that slider. Ramsey when his slider was on, it was unhittable.
yeah.
Heath Hinton has chimed in from Big Gold Nation. Heath Hinton says Baby Hawk has the potential to be really good with his odd arm slot. Yeah, and I would say with his demeanor and his attitude. So he has talent, but he also has this, like his brother did. You know, just give me the ball, get out of the way.
That's half the
You're
battle,
out.
and that's half the battle, and that's another reason why I really liked McCarty English before he got hurt.
Yep.
I didn't feel like he was scared of anything when he came in. You know, he might get hit, might lose a game, whatever, but I never felt like it was going to be because he was timid.
Yeah, it didn't look like a freshman at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Buzzard Ball has a comment or a question for Trey. Trey, any thoughts on why hasn't JB been effective in conference play?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not around him enough. You know, I'm not around him every day. I don't really know exactly what. I mean, the velocity's there. I don't know if it's a location thing. I know his, and I may be totally wrong on this, but I feel like a lot of the times when he's getting hit, it seems to be either his off-speed pitches or because he doesn't have off-speed command and people can eliminate those pitches. Which, even if you throw 95, if they can eliminate pitches and time up the fastball, everybody at this level can do that.
Sure.
That would be my answer.
Well, and you know, I would make the comparison I probably have on this pod before to Tyler Stewart. I remember Tyler's first couple of years here of like, how do people hit him? You know, he's like 6'10" or whatever. You know, he's a huge guy, has all kind of tilt coming in. He threw 1,000 miles an hour, and he just found nothing but barrels for like a year and a half. And then all of a sudden, he gets, you know, he figures it out. Oz works his magic. He develops that changeup. Everybody develops that changeup under Oz, it seems, and then he lights out. He throws that pitch versus LSU, but nobody will ever forget. And then I think he went from like low A to double A in one season with the Mets. I mean, just this meteoric rise. So, but Middleton and Payne both have that kind of ability, I think.
Yeah, like you get to this level, and for the most part, if you don't have something else to get guys off the fastball, they can time it up. They can hit it, you know, unless you're Chase Burns. He just throws 102.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get up to the 102 range, then, you can just spotting up doesn't really. I don't think if you eliminate everything else but the 102, the 102 is still 102.
Yeah.
Pilo, can you get us caught up on the Sun Belt Conference standings, please?
Yeah. So right now, Louisiana is 21-6. They are 38-15 overall. They've won 5 in a row, and in second place now, the Golden Eagles sitting at 18-9 in conference, 34-17 overall, winner of 7 in a row. So right behind them is Troy at 17-10. App State is at 15-11-1. And then you have James Madison and Georgia Southern at 15-12. And then we have Coastal, South, and Old Dominion at 13-14. And we're not going to talk about the rest of them. But yeah, really interesting, kind of tight at the top. And yeah, excited to see what this week looks like.
It's still a top-heavy conference, but the top kind of goes deep, I think, right?
Yeah.
The middle is very, very bunched up, and there's 2 teams. Well, really 3 teams at the bottom. Marshall, Louisiana Monroe, and Arkansas State all need to step their game up, and I think Marshall will. With that new facility that they have, I think Marshall will start to come along. ULM and Arkansas State, I don't have a lot of hope for them, but still, if you can go 10 deep, or what's that? That would be 12 deep, right? Or that'd be 10 deep in the conference. Anyway, all the teams except for the last 2.
Yeah, 11 deep, or 12 deep with Marshall. Yeah, 11 deep is, yeah. I mean, top 11 are pretty solid.
You can almost look at this and say facilities dictate winning. If you look at these, I mean, Louisiana, Southern Miss, Troy, App, James Madison. Then you start getting into the middle of the pack, Georgia Southern. Well, Coastal's up there. But then, you know what I'm saying? And then at the very bottom, Arkansas State, ULM, Marshall. Marshall just got their new facility, but you can almost go just along those lines.
Yeah, and typically South Al, I feel like they're a little higher. They haven't been really good this season.
Boy, South Al has a list of major leaguers that you would not believe. Have you ever looked at that list?
Juan Pierre, Luis Gonzalez.
I mean, it's like 50 of them.
Who else? There was a pitcher.
I've seen it before.
David Freeze. Yeah.
It's crazy the amount of major leaguers that have come out of there. So and we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. It's been just a little bit over an hour. We're going to hit on softball real quick and do our shout outs and get out of here. So if you have any comments, if you want to get on, if you want to talk about seeding, if you want to talk about baseball or the Ole Miss game tomorrow or anything coming up so far, just go ahead and chime in on that Twitter space or send us a comment. Softball season's over. 22-29, 10-14. They just played the Sun Belt Conference tournament out in San Marcos. Didn't go as planned, but it was a goal to make the tournament for a second year in a row, and with a new coach, and the ladies did that, so that was very good. Need to take that next step next year, and we'll see if they can. The one game they did play in the tournament lost 6-2 to James Madison in the first round. Started off bad. Gave up 5 runs in the first inning to the Dukes. Only 5 hits given up on the day, but the Lady Eagles only got 4 hits. So it was a great game outside of that first inning, really. Holly Craft started, not her best day, but also 0 earned runs. She throws 1 inning, 1 hit, 5 runs, 0 earned, 4 walks. Jana Lee went the rest of the way, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 Ks. Kayla Agner goes 2 for 3. Lindsay and Taylor, the other 2 hits for the Lady Eagles. I wanted to hit on some season stats because some of these players need to but specifically Borden and Lee need their final shot out of the year. I think every time me and Pilo do these, we talk about those two players a lot. But so the ladies at 258 as a team, opponents at 284. Team ERA of 5.75, opponents 5.19. Hit 33 homers on the year. Borden had 18 of them. That's a lot of homers. She had a great season. She hits 377, 9 doubles, 18 homers, 47 RBIs. Not bad. I think she hits leadoff too.
Yeah.
Led the team in OPS, homers, RBIs, total bases, walks, and slugging percentage. Not bad. Gianna Lee had herself a season, pitching and hitting. So she has a 4.49 ERA, 4 complete games, 8-8 record, and 100.1 innings pitched. She also hit 312, hit 5 homers, 15 doubles, and 30 RBIs. So I think we'll be replacing both of those ladies next year, which is not good because that's an awful lot of production, pitching wise and hitting wise. So we'll see what Coach Poole has for that. Pilo, is there any more comments?
Yeah, this is a good one from Heath. He had another comment that said top 8 in the Sun Belt could win a series against each other every week. Couldn't say that in CUSA. Agreed.
Oh, God. CUSA.
And that league keeps getting worse.
Missouri State.
Hope they got a lot of gas stations in Missouri.
And Applebee's. And all that. Pilo, what's the weather looking like for this weekend? The weather's bad right now. And we'll go ahead and so Ole Miss is in town tomorrow night. You said the weather's going to be out of here for that game tomorrow night, and I'm assuming for the rest of the weekend, but what is our weather looking like for the last weekend at the Pete?
Yeah, we've been really lucky this season. We really have not had a lot of weather. It kind of looks like, Friday's going to be rough. I think there's a lot of rain forecasted. Potentially could be out of here by the evening. That just means
a doubleheader on Saturday, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, we may be able to get it in if the hourly stays intact. But yeah, there's a lot of rain in that morning. Then another chance on Saturday, some rain again midday Saturday. It's a little far out to kind of get a real exact look at that, but yeah, we'll have some weather to deal with this weekend, so be prepared.
Not great. Well, if the weather does hit and you have to go do something, Mugshots has game day pictures of Miller Lite, Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, Yingling, and Sam Adams seasonal. Shareable starters to order for the table. Happy hour deals 3 o'clock till 6 o'clock Monday through Friday. Half off domestic well drinks and domestic draft. $3 snacks. And they've been voted the best burger in Mississippi 16 years in a row. So go check them out for sure. And that's about all I got, guys. So this is the time of the show where we do some shout outs and get out of here. If you're waiting on the line or want to have a last minute comment, you've got a minute or so. So you better get it in. Well, I tell you what, before we do that, Pilo released an awesome shirt this past weekend. Pilo, tell us what that shirt was, how they can buy it, and where to go do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you were on Twitter and we've talked about it a lot this podcast, but we released a shirt that said I sit in my actual seat, and it's got kind of an old school look and feel of some bleachers. So we did see a comment on there about us trying to capitalize on this. Whatever, like, it's a joke, it's a parody, and honestly, if you think we make a lot of money off shirts, I can show you a fact that we don't.
Yeah, the $50 we're going to make off of this, over like a year.
Yeah, we make between $1 and $4 a shirt. So we make we do that on purpose. Some people complain about the prices, but we literally price them like $2 over our cost. So
I'll tell you what,
we're not in it to make the money. I promise you.
If there's one thing that Southern Miss fans lead the nation in, or the world, it's complaining.
Yeah,
I mean, we're literally complaining about a sellout. When it comes down to it, we're complaining about a sellout, right? 2 years in a row. I don't know. Anyway.
But yeah, you can check that out at bonfire.com/store/to-the-top-talk, or it's linked at any of our link trees. There's lots of stuff on there, so go check it out. We have some Hattiesburg shirts, lots of baseball shirts, and we'll be shifting gears before long and heading toward football season. So
awesome. Well, Sut, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, I'll give one. Our season's over, but we got a local team playing for a state championship over at PCS, and Coach Jared Hoffpower.
That's right.
Former Golden Eagle great.
Come
on. But yeah, good luck to them this week. They they play Jackson Prep, and Jared's just a good friend of mine that since he's gotten there has done things the right way. And Scott Copeland's also on staff over there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
they've got two former professional baseball players that
Two major leaguers.
Yeah, I mean, highly qualified guys that know what they're doing and run it the right way and do things the right way. So good luck to them, and hopefully they are prep.
Pilo, any shout outs?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Sutton for joining us. Appreciate that. I know it's like last minute. We had
we had a way better guest booked, and he backed out at the last minute. He was just like, "Who can we get?"
Who do I know?
It's like, I'm not doing anything. I'll sit on a laptop for an hour.
No, we appreciate it. Appreciate your friendship and your Braves fandom. I love that. And I just want to give a shout out to God for that lightning bolt, because that was amazing. Right when we kicked it over,
I thought I was dead.
I cannot wait to go back and watch it. It will be on our YouTube. The video will actually be on YouTube, so it'll be on there after we end. So you can check that out. Yeah, that's it for me.
Can you pull that audio and use that as a clip?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do it.
Or however it sounded. I'll give one shout out and get out of here. Shout out to my wife, Katie. 12 years this weekend. Yeah. It could not have been easy dealing with me for all these 12 years, but it's been a wild ride. And anyway, so shout out to my wife. That's it. This episode is brought to you by Mugshots Grill and Bar, where they're always having a good time. Happy hour specials daily, and for a limited time, they're bringing back some of their oldies but goodies, so check them out soon. Go see our good friends at Mugshots in Hattiesburg today. Mugshots, delivering craveable food and personalized hospitality to friends and family in a place obsessed with sports. And thank you for listening in today and calling in and commenting and all the things that you did.
Yeah.
Whatever day you might have listened and whichever platform you chose to listen on, if you listen to the pod, thank you very much. Remember, you can follow me at Bumper J Bailey and Patrick at P Lowry and Trey at
Trey Sutton 7. Y'all know where to find me.
Follow us on all the social at To The Top Talk, and don't forget about the mailbag, tothetoptalk@gmail.com. Pilo, I don't know if you've checked that in a while. I haven't. So maybe I hope there's nothing
I
in there.
check it periodically. Yeah, we don't really, it's more spam than anything.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell somebody to the top today. And as always, Southern Miss.
To the top.
To the top.
Talk.
Why you mad? That is
Why you mad?
For Alabama,
USC.
USC, or Notre Dame, you have lots of things to offer.